All right, let's crack open the classified files. Today, we are piecing together the secret history of our planet. And let me tell you, it's a history that was ruled not by us, but by gods and by monsters.
I mean, really think about that. What if every myth you've ever heard, every legend of a sea serpent, or a dragon, or a beast that could move mountains, what if those weren't just stories? What if they were faded memories? Memories of a time when colossal, world-shaking superspecies reigned supreme. Well, today we're charting the official timeline of these titans.
Okay, so where do we even begin? Well, our story starts way before humans. We're talking 450 million years ago, with a single cosmic event that completely rewrote the laws of biology on Earth, and in doing so, it gave birth to our planet's very first gods.
So picture this. A distant star goes supernova. It blasts our planet with a wave of gamma radiation, wiping out almost everything. But for a few creatures, survival came from the most unlikely place you could imagine, the humble tardigrade. You know, those little water bears? By some absolute cosmic fluke, their DNA merged with other animals, creating a brand new type of life form, one that was impossibly resilient.
And here's where it gets really crazy. This is the key to their immortality. See, they inherited this unique protein from the tardigrades, and when it got supercharged by all that radiation, it didn't just protect their DNA from getting shredded. Oh no, it gave them a monstrous healing factor. We're talking near-instant regeneration. And that, right there, is what allowed them to live and evolve for millions upon millions of years.
Now, these new creatures didn't just survive the radiation, they learned to eat it. They evolved this incredible secondary digestive system that basically functioned as a living nuclear reactor. It let them absorb all that radiation in the atmosphere and convert it directly into energy. This is what fueled their growth to just unimaginable sizes. They literally had nuclear reactors for stomachs.
So this was the final, terrifying piece of the puzzle. You've got a godlike healing factor. You've got a constant source of energy. The last thing you need is a body that can handle it all. Their very skeletons evolved, rebuilt at the molecular level into something like living metal, a biological version of carbon nanotubes, stronger than anything we know. Yeah, at this point, they weren't just animals anymore. They were titans.
So this new age of monsters was born. But it wasn't ruled by just one king. No, it was an age of warring gods, and each one was a force of nature all its own.
But here's the thing, you have to understand. This wasn't just mindless chaos and destruction. It was a functioning, if absolutely terrifying, ecosystem. You had alpha titans, like Godzilla and Mothra, who kind of acted like planetary guardians, keeping the natural balance. And then you had the destroyers. These were the parasites and the alien invaders, like the Mutos and King Ghidorah, who only wanted to destroy and consume everything.
And then a devil fell from the stars, King Ghidorah. He arrived on an asteroid that triggered a mass extinction event, wiping out something like 95% of all life on Earth. The impact also had another huge effect. It drastically lowered the radiation on the surface. This forced all the surviving titans to go into a deep hibernation, way down near the Earth's core, where they could still feed on its radiation.
So with the world's original rulers gone, a new, much smaller species rose up to fill the void. Us. But even as humanity started to grow and build, there were these signs that we weren't alone, and that maybe some guiding hand was hiding the planet's biggest secrets from us.
I mean, think about it. Why are places like Skull Island hidden by a perpetual, never-ending storm? Well, monarch theorists don't think that's an accident. They believe some unknown higher intelligence, maybe the hyper-advanced civilization we call Atlantis, might have intentionally concealed the gateways to the Titan's world deep inside the Earth. Maybe they were protecting them, or maybe they were protecting us.
And that connection leads to this absolutely mind-blowing theory. Check out this timeline. Right around the time Atlantis supposedly vanished, the Earth's poles just catastrophically shifted, flash freezing the entire planet. So the question is, was that just a natural disaster? Or was it something else, like a desperate planetary-scale defense mechanism triggered to imprison that golden devil, Ghidorah, in a tomb of ice?
So, as humanity began to spread across the globe, the sleeping giants would occasionally stir. They'd rise up just for a moment, be seen by a handful of terrified people, and then vanish again, leaving behind the seeds of our most powerful and enduring myths.
For thousands of years, these encounters were just written off as folklore, right? But look at the evidence.
In ancient China, a temple was built to worship a divine moth we now know as Mothra. Greek myths warned sailors about Scylla. Every single legend of a dragon, or a leviathan, or a mountain that could walk, it was another breadcrumb, a tiny piece of a puzzle, all of it pointing to the unbelievable truth. We were never really the dominant species on this planet.
Then we get to the 20th century. Humanity unlocks the power of the atom. And for a minute there, we thought we had become gods. But it turns out, all we really did was ring the dinner bell for the real gods, forcing a terrible, giant truth out of the shadows.
It all really kicked off in 1943, after the USS Lawton was just torn in half by something massive. The truth couldn't be denied anymore. So, President Truman secretly founded Monarch. It was a clandestine organization with just one mission: find them. For decades, they operated in total secrecy. All those nuclear tests in the Pacific? Nope. Those were failed attempts to kill Godzilla. And their first official mission in '73 confirmed the impossible. Skull Island and its king, Kong, were very, very real. They were fighting a secret war, and for a long time, humanity was losing.
And what they found? It was just staggering. Dozens of these titans, all dormant, all across the globe. So Monarch built this whole network of containment outposts, literally right under our noses, hidden inside volcanoes, buried under ancient temples, and deep within the Antarctic ice sheet, studying these sleeping giants, just hoping they'd stayed asleep.
But secrets that big, they never stay buried forever, do they? In 2014, it all went public. San Francisco. The whole world watched as Godzilla came ashore to hunt down two parasitic monsters. The secret was out. And then, in 2019, everything just escalated. A group of eco-terrorists made a fatal mistake. They woke up Monster Zero from his icy prison. Ghidorah immediately sent out a global alpha call, a signal that woke up every single dormant titan on the planet and commanded them to bow to their new false king.
That final, cataclysmic battle in Boston, it wasn't just a monster fight, it was a coronation. With a heroic sacrifice from Mothra, Godzilla finally definitively destroyed the false king and reclaimed his rightful throne. And for the first time in thousands of years, the planet's other titans bowed in submission to their one true alpha.
So the Age of Monsters is officially back, and Godzilla is sitting on the throne. But that piece, it feels fragile, doesn't it? With brand new threats starting to emerge from the Hollow Earth, and with humanity's own desperate attempts to control these giants, you have to ask the question. The old king has returned, but in a world like this, for how long can any king truly